Pistons versus Magic. Game 3 is tomorrow. It's a afternoon game, only a 1 p.m. tip-off. So, looking at the first two games of this series so far, we know that this is going to be a physical, bruising last few games of this series, however long it may go. Even though the Pistons did drop game 1, I still have the Pistons winning in 5, if not 6 games. I wouldn't be surprised, as a matter of fact, if it goes 6. But game 1, Pistons just getting off to that, kind of sluggish start, never really could truly get into a rhythm all game. They tied a few times, couldn't ever take over, couldn't take the lead. And uncharacteristically, some of the things that the Pistons do well all season, getting more rebounds, second chance points in the paint, stuff like that. The Magic had the edge in game 1. Meanwhile, game 2, off to a very close first start for a first half, back and forth, tied at halftime, but then the Pistons ripping off a 30-3 run to start the second half. I mean, unbelievable play on both sides of the ball. And that was able to really carry them through the rest of the game and for the win. And, I mean, in today's NBA, with how high scoring all these games are and not a lot of defense and three-pointers, it was actually refreshing in my eyes to see a game that both teams finished under 100 points, 98-83 final score for game 2. And the Pistons, of course, it all starts on the defensive side of the ball. Not saying that their offense was great either, only 46% shooting from the floor, 23% from 3. I mean, just completely shut down. 32% overall that the Magic only shot from the field. And they got back to doing those things well. Rebounding, 67-52, 54-34 points in the paint. 13-5 second chance points. Those are the things that the Pistons are known for, and you knew it was a matter of time before they were going to get back to it. Now, obviously, a little bit of an outlier, that 30-3 run. You outscore a team by 27 points in a quick spurt like that. I mean, that's obviously good stuff, amazing stuff. And, again, it all starts on the defensive side of the ball. I think another thing that I liked about the Pistons in this last game, even though they did finish with 23 turnovers, they overall looked a lot less sloppy than in game 1. They obviously committed a high rate of turnovers, but it wasn't. I saw a lot less of the careless turnovers that led to their downfall in game 1 of this series. So even though the Pistons did get the win in convincing fashion with that huge run, I mean, hey, I'm confident in the Pistons right now, but we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here. We don't want to be like, all right, Pistons have found the recipe. This series is over. Because in the NBA playoffs, not only in-game, which we did see at halftime, adjustments that led to that 30-3 run, but it's the series as a whole. It's a chess match. Your opponent does something. All right, we're going to make adjustments to try to counteract that. And then if that works, great. If not, make some more adjustments. And then all of a sudden, boom, you find something that does work. Now it's all about the Magic right now. The Pistons obviously have found a recipe for success on the defensive side of the ball. You hold a team to 83 points in a game, let alone a playoff game. That's unbelievable stuff, especially in today's NBA. But now it's about, what are the Magic going to do to try to come back at the Pistons, try to get back in front on their home floor, game 3. They want to try to take a 2-1 series lead so then they could put the vice grips on the series 3-1 potentially after game 4. That's obviously what the Magic are hoping for after they stole home court advantage from the Pistons in game 1 of the series. So the Pistons have found something on the defensive side of the ball. They still need to make some adjustments offensively, the Pistons do, if they want to take the next step. If they really want to put this series away, they need to have a great offensive showing, which we have seen, especially in the last game, I mean, really this series, both games, Cade Cunningham, although a little bit poor shooting, he's had some pretty big numbers, pretty big performances in this series. But, I mean, how do we elevate this team, get going efficiently, overcome this tough physical defense, this tough physical brand of basketball that the Orlando Magic is playing, and go off for a 130? And we've seen the Pistons be able to do that this season. When they're rolling, especially when Cade Cunningham, I like him when obviously he's a scoring machine. He can flip that switch and put points on the board in a hurry, but I like him best when he is playmaking first. And we really saw this adjustment in the second half of the season, where it seemed like he was making a much more concerted effort of being that facilitator, trying to set up his teammates, get his teammates going, while at the same time being efficient, shooting the ball, and also limiting the turnovers. That's another thing with Cade Cunningham, that when he's limiting the turnovers and also shooting a very high percentage, I mean, that's when he becomes this top 5 player in the NBA. I mean, in general, floor, he is a top 10 player. But at his peak, obviously, we saw him in those MVP discussions. But, I mean, this is the playoffs. And we heard it even from Rip Hamilton in that short interview that he had mid-game in Game 2. That, you go from last season, you're that hungry, young, up-and-coming team. You are having a real stretch of success that has not been seen in this organization for several years. You are the hunter. And now this season, number 1 seed the whole year, you're the hunted. To go from the hunter to the hunted, it's a different story. And you're going against, by the way, an Orlando Magic team that has been absolutely starved of success for quite some time. They have not really had any sort of regular season or postseason success since they had Dwight Howard in the late 2000s and early 2010s. This organization has just not been there. Talk about, how the Pistons have been before last season and this season, kind of that mediocre, that mushy middle. The Magic have been the same way. Talk about how starved the Pistons have been of success. I mean, the Magic have almost had that long of a drought of any sort of success. So keep in mind, this is another team that is trying to break through, trying to take the next step. Had a great regular season last year. Had a great series with the Cleveland Cavaliers, or maybe that was 2 years ago. But anyways, got some nice young players. This season, by some talking heads in the media, I know they were talked about being a potential dark horse candidate in the Eastern Conference. I didn't really believe that. I do like some of the pieces on this team. I know they dealt with some injuries, specifically with the Wagner guys there. But they just really did not have the regular season that maybe you would have expected, at least even with my lesser projections from the national media. I expected them to probably be maybe even like a 6, maybe 5 seed. But instead they had to claw their way through the play-in. Here they are in the first round of the playoffs. And hey, if you can have a good playoff series, that could do a lot. And it doesn't. And we saw this even last year with the Tigers, how awfully they finished the regular season. But it doesn't matter. Once they get to the playoffs, they were able to squeak past Cleveland and then have a pretty exciting series against the Mariners, even though they lost in 5 in extra innings to the Mariners. Sometimes a good playoff series, it doesn't matter what you did in the regular season. And the Magic are trying to show that right here. So it's all about that chess battle. What are the moves that the Magic are going to do? What are the adjustments they're going to make? And how are the Pistons going to try to counteract that? Obviously, they've made some great adjustments defensively, but what I expect to happen in this one is the Magic trying to really force Detroit to get out of rhythm. I think they demonstrated in that first game when they're forcing turnovers, they're getting out and running in the open floor. That's when the Magic is having some success. So if they can really take advantage of Detroit's turnovers, prevent them from getting into a significant offensive rhythm, and stay consistent just enough, then the Magic might have a chance to try to flip this series back in their favor. But as long as the Pistons can continue to just out-muscle, outwork this Magic team, I think they got a good chance to instead keep this momentum going that they picked up in the last game, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And hopefully they should be heading into Game 4 on Monday with a 2-1 series lead, chance to go up 3-1 back home at Game 5 at Little Caesars Arena. That's obviously the roadmap for success in the Pistons in this series. I still have the Pistons in 5, maybe 6. But regardless, I think the Pistons finally found something in that last game. I think the Pistons got punched in the mouth in that first game. A little bit of a wake-up call, much needed. But this is a good chance for them to really flip the script in their favor in this one, Game 3. Tomorrow afternoon, 1 o'clock, live coverage right here on Jackson's Fox Sports 101.9 FM.
If you missed today's installment of On the Docket, podcast it at foxsports1019.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to tune in live weekdays at noon on Jackson's Fox Sports 101.9 FM.